Hey YouTube, Tom Houston Photography here. This is my first video I'm making since I got back from my road trip in the southwest of the US of A. And I'm just going to go over my gear that I brought along, and then I will make other videos on where I went, and then give you some helpful tips and details about that experience, just so that I don't make a hour-long video. So to start, what I carried my gear in was my carry-on for my flight. We flew down and then drove around and then flew back. So my flight, I carried on my Nanook 925 hard case that had most of my gear in it. Then I brought in my checked bag, my Lowepro 200 Slingshot AW bag, and I took out the foam inserts and just stuffed them into my suitcase, and then compressed this down as much as I can in my suitcase, and threw all my clothes and stuff on top of it. And I used that as my hiking bag since I did a boatload of hiking while I was there. I was a little worried about my hard case and going through security at the airport and all that, but it went through without a hitch. There was no problems. No one hand switched my stuff. I think part of that was because I didn't have a lot of stuff in it, so it wasn't probably too cluttered on the X-ray monitor, so they didn't feel the need that they had to look through all my stuff. Also, I'm guessing most so on the Phoenix, Arizona end of things, that they probably see a lot of photography equipment being flown into that airport, because I'm sure a lot of people bring their cameras to take pictures of the Southwest. The bag, the Slingshot, it was very useful to have. It's very comfortable. I've had it for a while now, and it works very well. I didn't have that much to bring in it, so it was more comfortable than usual since I usually have a lot of gear that I bring with me on trips. As for my gear that I brought along, I brought my D90. It's my only camera body. It's an amazing camera. And the 17-55 DX 2.8 lens. This was invaluable to have. This was an amazing lens. I am so happy I just brought this lens. It was the only lens I brought. I was debating bringing my macro. However, I wasn't sure if the flowers would be out, and I knew I didn't really want to go there just to take pictures of flowers. Luckily enough, I did get there when most of the things were blooming, and it was pretty cool to see. But I'm glad I only brought this lens because I wasn't really going there for my macro photography. So, great lens to have along. Worked amazing, no issues with it. Caught everything perfectly. And for a lot of the shots in the Southwest, if you've been or have seen any photos from there, you need almost more than a fisheye lens to capture everything in a photo. So I did a lot of panoramas, but I will go into that in another video because that is a very important thing I want to talk to you guys about, to help you guys if you go down to the Southwest. Anyways, the rest of my gear: spare battery, always a good idea to use and bring. This is just my tripod mount. I brought my Manfrotto 190 prob aluminum with the medium head tripod in my check bag. Just tossed it in my suitcase. Whoops. I brought and threw my 3 16GB SanDisk Extreme Pro SD cards. I filled 2 of them almost, and half filled the third. I took a lot of photos because I didn't have my laptop with me, so I was taking a lot of photos and slightly underexposing some and slightly overexposing others, just to make sure I had a range of photos just in case when I brought them back and looked at them on my laptop I was doing something wrong, or I know that the screen on the D90 on mine, how my settings are, it's slightly darker than usually what it comes out on my camera, on my laptop, on my computer. So I just took a couple of shots of each main thing I wanted to take a photo of, just in case I got home and it wasn't exactly the exposure I wanted. So that's why I took so many photos. I think it came out to 4,200 and something photos in a week. Quite excessive, I know, but it worked. The other thing I brought along that was invaluable was the Lee filter system. I have the system, and I brought along my neutral density graduated Knot 9 soft filter. So it's a stops every 3 stops of light. I have videos on it, and this was on my lens probably 95% of the time. The other 5% being in Antelope Canyon, which is a slot canyon, which I do have some photos up on my website of, but there is no horizon to really block out, so it's useless to actually try to use in there. But for all of my landscapes, pretty much, I had that attached to my lens the whole entire time. And I got a lot of questions about that, actually, from other people at the various places I went. So it was pretty fun explaining what it does, and everyone would just kind of like a eureka moment, because I'm sure a lot of the photographers down there knew that that would be useful, but didn't really know they existed. And I was kind of shocked to see that most of the photographers there didn't really have any filters. I wasn't down there in peak season, so I'm sure not all of the very, very hardcore photographers were there. But I did see a couple pros that weren't using any filters at all, so I was kind of interested in why that was. But I did see a couple of circular polarizers on some lenses, but that was it. I think I was the only one I saw that was using a slot filter. Anywho, I also brought my battery grip, which was outrageously useless. I didn't use it once. It was the only thing I brought that I didn't use, but it's not that heavy, so it wasn't that much of an issue. Just stayed in my hard case, which sat in the hotel room with a car. That is all of the gear that I brought and used. So if you have any questions about any of that, and why I chose anything or why I didn't bring anything else, please don't hesitate to ask. I would gladly answer those questions. Just toss it in a comment below. And I have some photos up on my website that you can check out, but I have even better photos to come. I'm just making sure I've edited them perfectly and made all my panoramas and all that. So stay posted, please subscribe, and I will be making a couple more videos on the individual places I went. So I hope that helps, and please stay tuned for more videos. Cheers.